that he just goes crazy every time you bring these in. And look at those sponges. So explain exactly what we're seeing, because I haven't seen this product before.
Okay, before we actually come to the table, I'm going to show you a little bit of tape here. Now, what you're looking at, actually, we came in a little late on this tape. We're going to run it again, but this is showing you that this is the surface of my sponge. It is not permitting the growth of molds and bacteria. This is what an ordinary cellulose sponge looks like. That's what you got next to your sink right now. This tape was actually prepared by the independent scientific lab that did this testing. Now you're going to look again at my sponge. You see the little things going poof, poof, poof? That's because my sponge will inhibit the growth and multiplication of molds and bacteria such as staph, E. coli, salmonella, black mold, all those things that frighten us. Okay. This is what you should be getting rid of. You know you have this. Everybody has seen this horrible thing sitting next to their sink. Why is it sitting next to your sink? It's a crispy thing. It gets slimy, and it smells. The construction of my sponge, and now this is my Debbie Meyer GeniusSponge with the scrubber. So the other side is the scrubber. It's the same material. It also will inhibit the growth of those bad things as well, like staph, E. coli, salmonella, black mold, and more. And also, when you use the scrubber side, it will not hold on to anything that you pick up. So, like, have you ever wiped out scrambled eggs from a pan?
Yeah.
And it took you like a year to get the stuff out of your scrubber? This will rinse clean. To have my sponge work, you do absolutely nothing. You do not have to do anything special to clean it, to make it work, to keep it clean. It works all on its own. Now, aside from those healthy benefits that you get from having my sponge, I'm going to show you a couple other things about it. My sponge will hold 22 times its own weight in water and absorbs 40% more than an ordinary sponge. So I'm going to just spill a little water in here. Now watch, this is what's different. Ordinarily with a sponge, you would rub, right, to soak things up. This is what you do with mine. You simply put it down and let it absorb. If you press it down a little bit, you can actually see the capillary action picking up the water just as simply as this. It is sopping it all up. So you want to keep this sponge not only at your kitchen, you want to keep it, where do you have a lot of water? Your bathroom.
Right.
You will know that your sponge is clean. All you do is rinse it out, and when you let it dry, when you pick it up again, it's like a new sponge. So what you are going to get in this set is 12 of my sponges. Now, the other cool thing is that every one of my sponges lasts the equivalent of 15 ordinary cellulose sponges. Now, I don't particularly like to do math, but I'm going to do it for you. 12 of my sponges means you don't have to buy 180 of these.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the difference right there. Look at them side by side. 12 of mine, come on over, 12 of mine versus 180 of these. That's the difference. These will let things, they have nooks and crannies. You know stuff is going to get stuck in them. You know stuff is going to be in there. That's what you don't want. With all the people who have written to me about using these sponges, who love these sponges, they've been a customer pick from the day they went on the air. And like you said, Adam Freeman is
he's the
biggest champion of these sponges.
Crazy. Well, they're $18.95. You're getting 12 sponges. So as we were saying, that's going to replace that huge bin that you were seeing. So you have a choice, and the fact that you're making it healthier for your family, you're keeping things cleaner and safer. So you're not having those odors that seem to happen, and you're saving a lot of money.
Well, those odors come from the replication
and free shipping and handling too.
Molds and bacteria. Now, one of the things is that I want to tell you for certain is that I am not a germaphobe, but I want to do the best I can for my family, but I also want it to be easy and convenient for me. If you expect me to go clean the thing I'm cleaning with, you're looking at the wrong girl. All you have to do is squeeze out my sponge, rinse it and squeeze it out. You'll also find that you are using less dish liquid because the construction of my sponge is so dense that when you put a little bit of soap in it, it foams greatly. So you're using less and less of that detergent. Now, if you take an ordinary sponge and you as you always do, and I used to do, and you wipe down the cutting board, and then you're washing the dishes,
Gross,
right?
Isn't it?
And then you're washing all the things, and maybe the baby's toys, you wanted to give a little wipe. You are spreading what is in this sponge to everything. When you pick up one of my sponges, it's a clean sponge because it inhibits the growth of those things in or on this sponge for the life of the sponge. It doesn't wear out.
So let's look at that animation again.
That is made by the independent lab that does the testing, that did the testing on my sponges. That's what you expect to find on an ordinary cellulose sponge. Now you're going to see my sponge, and you're going to see the little bits and pieces that it may have picked up, the contaminants, but it inhibits their growth and replication. So therefore, you've got a sponge that is virtually new every time you pick it up. So if you want to pick this up, now when you wipe anything with a sponge, you're liable to pick up contaminants, right?
Absolutely.
The difference is when you rinse out my sponge and let it dry, you put it next to the sink, let it dry. Next time you pick it up, it's like you have a brand new sponge. These sponges last 15 times longer than an ordinary cellulose sponge. So I'm going to do it one more time for you. 12 of my sponges means you don't have to buy 180 ordinary cellulose sponges. Now think of that in terms of money. I know how much a pack of 6 of these costs.
Right.
And they don't last. I used to throw away a sponge a week.
Yeah,
I threw them away.
It's not just the savings of this. To me, it's also that health benefit.
Of course it is.
To not be spreading the germs around. And I think that's why it's almost got a perfect 5-star rating. It's like 4.7 for all the reviews. That means you got it home, you loved it, you saw such a difference that you wanted to take the time to write a review. And that's really impressive. You don't find that many items, even on HSN, where you get that kind of a rating and the numbers that we've sold.
It's a sponge. For people
like
to be
how sexy
that
is a sponge, right?
If people are that excited about a sponge, you've really got to understand how excited people are about this particular sponge. Remember that both sides of my sponge are made with the same material so that you're going to get the benefit of the inhibition of growth of things like staph, E. coli, salmonella, and black mold for the life of the sponge. And remember, it's 15 times, the equivalent of 15 ordinary sponges. It's going to be healthier, cleaner, more hygienic.
We got to get going, Debbie. We love it. And we're $18.90.